But to each one of his favor was given according to the measure of the gift of the Messiah. But to each one of us, favor was given according to the measure of the gift of Messiah. So each one was given what Messiah wanted you to have. It doesn't say each one was given the exact same thing or the exact same amount. Even Messiah in his parable says, to one was given 10, to one was given 1, to one was given 5, whatever it was, right? And so, not everybody was given the same. But notice that it's what you do with it that they're watching, not how many you started with. But you want to focus on what you were started with and compare your start from other people's start. Well, they've got this advantage and they got that advantage, and I don't have this, or blah, blah, blah. No, it doesn't matter what he gave you to start with. All of the way that the message comes across, the parables, the instructions, everybody's writings, is that he's watching what you do with it. It's not about how much he gave you to start. Because there are those that he gave a lot and they did nothing with it. Others he gave very little and he did amazing things with it. And so don't worry about what he gave you to start. Because you're thinking, well, I was at a disadvantage because I had abuse when I was a child, or I had a broken home, or I was adopted, or I was handicapped. Stop all that. Do what you can, the best you can, with what he gave you. And by the way, when he gives to you and you do a lot with it, he gives you more. Okay? He gives you more. He said, to each one of us, favor was given according to the measure of the gift of Messiah. That is why it says, when he went up on high, he led captivity captive and gave gifts to men. But what does he went up mean, except that okay, we're not going to get into all this stuff right now because it gets into other things. He's making another deeper point, but it doesn't really necessarily add to what I'm wanting to say right now. Then we get to verse 11, and he goes, and he himself gave some as emissaries. And he goes into the whole thing we read already about the fivefold ministry. Okay? I'm sorry for skipping those few verses. I looked at the clock. We got like 3 minutes. So, but understand that he says, look, the whole point of this is that he said all these things I just told you in chapter 3, and actually if you go back through Ephesians, it goes a lot further back, when he's talking a lot about how we started off as Gentiles and we didn't know anything about anything and we were separate from the covenants and not in connection with Elohim. You know, we see that in chapter 2, and that we were busy walking according to the world and all these things. But now because of the love of Messiah, we have access to all of these things and we can be in covenant just like the rest of Israel. That you can be grafted in, but then you're looked at as being just as no different than those that were born in. And by the way, everybody in gets measured by the same measuring stick. What are you doing? Oh, but I was born in. Who cares? I was grafted in. Doesn't matter. What are you doing with the fact that you are in? Are you using that to your best advantage to grow and change? Or are you squandering it, kick back in the lazy boy? And what are you doing?